Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Monday Night Raw Episode 3 of Season 2 of My Universe. We're in Winnipeg, Canada. The second Raw of Season 2, and we start off with a bang. We have some tag team action here tonight to open up Monday Night Raw here in Canada. Later tonight, we will be seeing multiple debuts after the draft. After all these NXT call-ups, we finally get to see these guys in action. And in the main event, we have incredible number one contenders matchup. We will talk about that as the matches and as the nights go on. But for now, we begin this matchup right here. Right now, we have Hank and Tank, the newest tag team to the Raw Tag Team division. They have been called up. They've been drafted to Monday Night Raw after the WWE draft, and here tonight, they make their debut straight into some tag team action. However, their opponents are going to be no easy task. Hank and Tank are facing off against a returning tag team. We have the Usos in your city. That is right. Jimmy and Jay Uso have reunited as a tag team, have joined the Monday Night Raw Tag Team division, and here tonight, we see them live in action. Of course, these two, they've had their moments with, the whole Bloodline saga. They held the tag team titles for the longest time ever. I believe it was like 633 days. Of course, they had their problems with one another. They kind of split up while still having each other's back. There was moments where they hated. Right, there's a lot of history between these two brothers. Right, Jay went on to win the IC title and become a World Heavyweight Champion. Jimmy won the United States Championship, but here tonight, they have reunited. And arguably, one of the best tag teams here tonight. I will have to say it's them, the Dudleys, and maybe the Hardys. It would be between those three teams, in my opinion, to say which is the greatest tag team of all time. And here tonight, Hank and Tank have no easy challenge facing what I just said, one of the best tag teams of all time. And just because they haven't tagged together in a while does not mean they're gonna, be a little rusty. These two are phenomenal. However, very quickly, Tank looking for the pinfall. And Jimmy Uso is able to go ahead and kick out at one. So, first and foremost, welcome to Hank and Tank to Monday Night Raw. Congratulations on being drafted. Welcome back to the Usos, now a tag team once again. Now, so on paper, we gotta say the truth. We gotta just speak the facts. Hank and Tank are by far the underdogs here tonight. If there is a favorite, it has to be the Usos. However, with that comes a big opportunity for Hank and Tank that if they are able to somehow pull off a victory here tonight, they just beat one of the greatest tag teams of all time. That is going to be a fantastic look, right? And then if they lose, which it's very highly likely, it's 1% chance, 99% faith with them winning. If they lose, it's all right. Everyone has a different journey, but you can still have the same destination. Just some journeys take a couple curves, they take a little longer, but you can still get to that final goal, which more likely than not for them is becoming World Tag Team Champions here on Monday Night Raw. Of course, I take in comparison Fraxium. They had early success. They're two-time World Tag Team Champions already. Hank and Tank may not necessarily find that same level of success instantly. However, again, everyone has different journeys, has different ways of getting to that final destination. But nevertheless, they can be very capable of getting there, whether it has some curves, whether, there's a little more slowing down than others. You can still definitely get there. So for Hank and Tank here tonight, it's all about introducing themselves to the WWE Universe. Win or lose here tonight, it's just a welcome to the main roster and kind of a match to get them adapted to the main roster, so there isn't need for them to really stress out, for them to worry so much, for them to, start tripping about a loss here tonight. But nevertheless, I'm pretty positive they're going to fight really hard to, try their best to see if they can find a victory here tonight. So we'll see how this goes, as it is Tank and Jimmy Uso inside of the ring. Tank with some big guts right there, headbutting a Samoan. Usually that doesn't work out too well. We do see the head of Tank all cracked open and bleeding, so maybe there's some adrenaline there that allows him to be able to do that Superman punch by Jimmy Uso, as Jimmy now sends Tank straight into the corner, slamming down. Was looking for a stomp right there. However, Tank quickly gets up, and now Jimmy gonna be smacked down onto the mat. And now Tank may be looking for the finish here. He may be looking to put an end to this match. However, oh, never mind. I was about to say Jimmy Uso counters, but no, instead a knee straight onto the, lower hip of Jimmy Uso. You could basically say the butt of Jimmy Uso. Nice damage being done right here by Tank, who now rolls up for the pinfall. Quick kick out by Jimmy Uso. It is still pretty weird to see Jimmy and Jay back together. They haven't tagged together in quite some time. But again, it does not seem as though they've missed a beat. They're looking very good so far. As a nice little DDT right there by Jimmy Uso, getting back onto the attack against Tank. Tank was trying to look for a big clothesline right there. Jimmy Uso is able to move out of the way. However, once again, knee to the lower hip of Jimmy Uso, consistently targeting the same area very smartly by Tank to neutralize his opponent in one specific area. That is bound to start, just slowly adding up, and eventually going to crash if he keeps doing it long enough. But tag made onto Jey Uso, allowing Jimmy to kind of catch his breath. On the other hand, Tank is still the legal man, still with his head all cracked open and bleeding here on his debut on Monday Night Raw. However, he's able to slam down Jey Uso. Tag made onto Hank. Hank is now in. Hank Walker met by a very quick boot to the face by Jey Uso. Former world heavyweight champion was able to hold that title, for a little over 80 days. I think it was 90 days, which is honestly incredible. It could have ended earlier. He did have some cheeky title defenses, specifically against Gunther, but nevertheless, he was able to reach almost the 100-day mark, which is quite impressive. But here tonight, he returns into some tag team action, and maybe looking to put the match away right here as Hank sent straight into the turnbuckle. Tag made. Jimmy Uso, the legal superstar. These two gonna look to work together, and a big right fist straight into the face of Hank Walker. As now Jimmy Uso with some big stomps onto Hank. Hank gonna look to get up, trying to grab a hold of Jimmy Uso. However, Jimmy Uso very swiftly being able to move out of the way right there. Superman punch, looking for another. This time it was Hank who was looking for a bit of a shoulder check. Jimmy Uso able to move out of the way, and now sent straight into the turnbuckle. And now Jimmy Uso awaits Hank Walker. Oh, spear into the pinfall. One. And only one, because Tank is right there, ready to break the count. Now Jimmy Uso trying to attack him. However, Tank protecting himself very nicely, lifting the knee right there. As Jimmy Uso gonna pull his focus back onto Hank, who is sent straight into the turnbuckle. This time Jimmy Uso is able to delay some damage onto Tank. However, Hank does roll out, allowing himself to catch his breath. Tag made onto Jey Uso as Hank kind of swabbled up. Jimmy Uso gonna look to attack him, but before he can do anything, Hank attacks Jimmy Uso, making sure he doesn't get involved. And now Hank gonna go ahead and hop inside of the ring. It's a bit of a 2v1 right now for Jey Uso. He is able to hit Hank with a nice little clothesline. However, there was nobody in Jay's corner at the moment, so a tricky situation. Jay still able to counter Hank, looking for the crossbody. Nobody home as Hank is able to move out of the way. And now Hank, what is he going to look to do? He is quickly countered. Hank and Tank are having their seconds of the spotlight, but quickly the Usos fixing things and making things right by going back onto the attack. As Jey Uso gonna look for the sleeper here. He's put away Gunther, the ring general like this before. Will he be able to get it done right here against Hank Walker, who is hanging on very tight, but just barely hanging on? And now Jey Uso trying to squeeze more and more, but it is Hank Walker who is able to counter now, sends Jey Uso flying. Not able to make Hank Walker tap out right there. Now Hank gonna look for the finish. No, instead Jey Uso with a big hit to the face of Hank Walker. Face busted open. And now Jey Uso with some big hits right there straight to the face. And Jey Uso charging up once more, maybe looking for a second sleeper here tonight, and is able to get it done. Can he make Hank Walker tap? Is this it to win the match? Yes, it is. Hank Walker taps, and the Usos get the victory. They have reunited here tonight, Jimmy and Jey Uso. And in their eyes, there is only one prize. Those are the World Tag Team titles. So to Fraxium, I say watch out, because you have some new challengers, the Usos. And here tonight they showed exactly what they're made out of and what they can do. Fraxium, the end may be near for your title reign, because arguably the greatest tag team of all time, the Usos, is back. Congratulations to Jey and Jimmy Uso. And now after that phenomenal opening matchup, it's time to go ahead and hear from Mr. Goldberg himself. I have a feeling of where this may go, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and hear him out. So Gunther, I knew you were not going to want a match unless if I put my career on the line. That's why I'm here, because I'm willing to do so. Gunther, I promise to you that if you accept this matchup, I'll put my career on the line. And sure, it may suck not being able to come back into the ring, but I promise you, Gunther, that even if my career is on the line, that it won't end the time we face. I will beat you. I will humble you. I will punish you for all the other careers you have ended. The one of Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, all because you're too full of yourself. Gunther, I will beat you. I will humble you. And I will show you exactly what a true legend looks like. And while that is exactly where I thought this would be going, Goldberg has done it. He has said that if Gunther accepts the match, Goldberg will go ahead and put his career on the line. Now, of course, what Goldberg is trying to do is wonderful, trying to humble Gunther, trying to show him that ending all these wonderful careers of all these legends is not the way to go. Right? He needs to humble down. Just because he couldn't retire Cena doesn't mean he has to get rid of everyone else in the roster. So what Goldberg is doing is fine. The way he's doing it isn't. Because you're literally trying to tell this guy to not retire people, but then you're putting your career on the line. And realistically speaking, I'm sorry, Goldberg, I love you, but you're old. Gunther is about to reach his prime. And, I mean, he's just on a crazy hot streak. Right now, all he is seeing is red. And I think on paper, if this match is confirmed, which now that you put your career on the line, Gunther will accept. I do believe that Gunther is a favorite to win the match. So Goldberg, rather than trying to teach Gunther a lesson, I feel like you're just feeding his ego that much more. And that is a mistake he is making. But it's going to be a mistake that he's going to have to deal with. Right? Simple as that. As much as I would love to talk to Goldberg and try to convince him not to do any of this, I know his mind is set, right? We're not going to be able to change his thoughts and what he wants to do. Unfortunately, it's in my eyes, it looks like the career of Goldberg is over. Gunther is going to be the favorites. If Goldberg can prove me wrong and shut down Gunther, that would be phenomenal. I'm still praying that Gunther it loses to Goldberg. I'm still praying that Goldberg is able to send that message through and humble down Gunther. But I'm not too key on that's really happening. I'm not too confident that will actually happen. But we'll see how that unfolds between Gunther and Goldberg. As for now, we have some more debuts. First, already inside of the ring, we have Brooks Jensen, who has made the move up to the main roster. And now, coming up to the ring right now, the young OG, Javon Evans. That boy is bouncy. Also part of Monday Night Raw, going to make his debut here tonight. And what a pickup it is for Monday Night Raw to have the NXT Trinity. The NXT Trident, excuse me. That being Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans. That Trident is stacked. On the other hand, SmackDown got a very nice duo in Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. A little bit of slight different eras of NXT within there. But I do think that the pickup of that Trident of Obafemi, Trick Willie, and Javon Evans is Monday Night Raw is going to be doing real good. Not only this season, but over the course of the next decade or so. As we go ahead and begin this match, Brooks Jensen, Javon Evans, debuts for both of them in here tonight. It is an opportunity for both of these guys to be seen, of course. I would say Javon Evans has already been seen a little bit more. He's a former NXT champion. He participated in one of the rounds of the Last Time Is Now tournament, so he's already at a bit of an advantage. He already has a little bit more experience with championships, with being in the spotlight, with these bigger matches. On the other hand, Brooks Jensen, not really. It kind of puts him at a disadvantage here. Brooks Jensen may be a little bit more nervous. He may be feeling the pressure a little bit more compared to Javon. I'm not saying that Javon doesn't feel this, but definitely with the experience and practice that he's already had, I'm sure Javon is feeling at least a little bit more confident than Brooks Jensen here tonight. And we are seeing it as Javon Evans going to look for the pinfall. 1, 2, and almost 3. Brooks Jensen able to lift up his left shoulder just in time in order to keep this match alive. But I think it's showing very early on that Javon Evans is feeling more confident. He is 2 steps ahead of Brooks Jensen, able to counter, able to get onto the attack. Nice, almost like a stone cold cutter right there. Able to do things before Brooks Jensen can even react, and that is just showing the slight advantage in experience that Javon Evans has. He's a young OG, he's young, but that little reign of being the NXT champion, of participating in the Last Time Is Now tournament, is proving that it truly did help him. Has a big splash right there, and now Brooks Jensen may be in trouble as Javon Evans once again able to counter. Brooks Jensen gets up, trying to look for a kick. Javon Evans able to move out of the way once again, multiple times. Able to move out of the way, big boots. Onto Brooks Jensen. As Javon Evans once again moving out of the way. Finally, Brooks Jensen able to catch up onto him. However, Javon Evans going to look to counter. Is able to move out of the way of the boot right there. Brooks Jensen is just too slow, and this is a very bad look for Brooks Jensen. And I want to go ahead and make it clear right here, right now. Just because you've been called up, whether it was with the draft, hold on, Javon Evans with a huge cutter to win the match. 2, 3, there it is, Javon Evans. A very dominant, quick, and easy victory for the young OG over Brooks Jensen. Very early on, it was just Javon, and knock on that door. Eventually, it will open, and it did for Javon as he gets the victory here tonight. And as I was about to say, I think I want to make this clear for any superstars watching. Just because you got, drafted to one of the main roster shows, just because you're on the main roster, does not mean that you can't get cut, that you can't get released, that you can't get brought down back to NXT. Just because you've made it doesn't mean you've really made it. Now that you've made it to the main roster, you got to fight 10 times harder to keep your spot. So a very bad look for Brooks Jensen, because if that's all we're going to see from him being 2 steps behind, him being too nervous, him being too scared, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets sent back down to NXT. So to him and anybody else who may be in a similar position, y'all got to pick it up instantly. These matches, fine. They're just, you guys can get adjusted. But nevertheless, eventually it's going to come a time where you just got to, to jump into the deep end and get things running, get things moving. For now, celebrations begin for Javon Evans, and I'm hoping that Brooks Jensen can go ahead and pick things up. But we now go ahead and jump into some women's singles action. 2 more debuts. And here tonight with this matchup, here on Raw. This matchup has a little bit more glamour, as the glamour herself, Blake Monroe, is here. She has arrived. She has been drafted to Monday Night Raw. And Blake Monroe here tonight, a good opportunity to go ahead and showcase to the WWE Universe what she has to offer, what she's made out of. Of course, former NXT North American champion, so we know she has the capabilities to go ahead and become champion. Here tonight, though, as we were just talking about, it is a different atmosphere. It may feel a little different for Miss Blake Monroe, but if anyone can get it done, it is her and her opponents. Another woman who is going to go ahead and battle it out in her debut here on Monday Night Raw. Tatum Paxley has arrived to go ahead and boost the women's division here. And not only is she making her debut tonight, this is a huge opportunity, as well as I was mentioning, to Blake Monroe to just be seen. This match is all about getting adjusted to the main roster. And it's all about introducing yourself to the WWE Universe, right? So, win or lose, I think the best thing that you can do for yourself in these matches is just having good matches. It sounds silly, but having good matches, that's a great way to go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of show what you're capable of, right? So, big opportunities for both of these women. If I look on paper, I would give the slight advantage to Blake Monroe, but do not underestimate Tatum Paxley. She is definitely capable of being able to pull off the victory here tonight. So we go ahead and begin this match. Blake Monroe, Tatum Paxley, both women making their debuts. Who will be able to come out on top here tonight? Who will start off their main roster careers with a W? The Glamour or Tatum Paxley? We'll find out in just a couple of moments, as this match has officially begun. Of course, later tonight, as I previously mentioned, we will be having a number one contenders match, and that is going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think after this match, I'll think about after this match announcing who those people participating in the match are. One of them is a bit of a shocking return, but for now we'll go ahead and focus onto this match, as Blake Monroe right here able to make some big impact onto Tatum Paxley off of the middle ropes now with a big splash. Gonna look for the pinfall. One. And a quick kick out at one by Tatum Paxley. As Blake Monroe quickly getting up, gonna look to climb the top ropes once again. Gonna look to fly this time. Tatum able to lift up her knees and instead doing damage onto Blake Monroe, who is now sent down by Tatum. Blake Monroe able to move out of the way right there now. Some big right fist straight onto the face of Tatum Paxley. Blake Monroe now, what is she going to look to do? Looking to climb onto the middle ropes once again. She likes this middle rope, has gone to it. She feels comfortable here and shows exactly why, because she is able to do lots of damage. Pinfall once again. And a kick out at one by Tatum Paxley. However, Blake Monroe continues. She is not done. She's going to look to do some more damage onto Tatum Paxley. As Blake Monroe, Tatum Paxley going at it with some back and forth action. As a good friend of mine says, a hockey fight has just broken out. Tatum Paxley, Blake Monroe, who will come out on top of this little back and forth, and who will win this match? As Tatum Paxley allows Blake Monroe to get the hit, and maybe that was a mistake, because Blake is able to knock down Tatum. Knee to the face, and now, Tatum Paxley may be in a very dangerous predicament, as Blake Monroe with a DDT, looking for the pinfall. 1, 2, 3, there it is. The Glamour has arrived to Monday Night Raw, and Blake Monroe quickly on her debut gets the victory. It was a very dominant match by Blake Monroe, and while Tatum Paxley had her little moments, there's that cockiness allowing Blake Monroe to get an extra shot that led to her eventual downfall. It allowed Blake Monroe to connect with the knee. It allowed her to hit the DDT and then roll up Tatum for the 1, the 2, and the 3. And just like that's Blake Monroe here on her debuts on Monday Night Raw, able to go ahead and get the victory. Congratulations to Blake Monroe. Of course, welcome to both women. Welcome to Monday Night Raw, but it is Blake Monroe who starts off here on the main roster with a victory. We now have the ruler, Oba Femi, the Intercontinental Champion. One heck of a beast. He has something he wants to say. Let's go ahead and hear him out. Rusev, congratulations on winning the number 1 contenders match. And while you got past Dirty Dom, Ludwig Kaiser, I apologize because now you must face the ruler, Oba Femi. This match is confirmed for Backlash. So until then, Rusev, I'll see you around. Celebrate for now, because your end is near. And the very confident Oba Femi speaks here tonight to go ahead and confirm that him and Rusev will go 1-on-1 for the Intercontinental Championship at a Backlash. But saying, Rusev, you ain't gonna win. That's basically what he is saying. Well, up next, we carry on some more women's singles action. And as well as some more debuts. Well, a debut. First and foremost, we have Ivy Nile. She is the number 1 contender to the Women's Intercontinental Championship. We hope to hear from Roxanne Perez, hopefully sooner rather than later, about where and when this match will take place. Excited to see Ivy Nile get a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. But here tonight, she goes ahead and faces off against a new face here on Monday Night Raw. Oh my days. One of the new draftees, Jasmine Nix, is here, a part of Fatal Influence. Jasmine Nix, JC Jane both joining Monday Night Raw. On the other hand, Fallon Henley headed over to SmackDown, so Fatal Influence has been split up slightly, but I think that's okay, at least for JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. They'll be able to go ahead and still rely on one another. Of course, here tonight, this is just kind of like an introduction match for Jasmine Nix, coming out here alone, but afterwards, Jasmine Nix, JC Jane will still be able to go ahead and rely on one another and maybe go for some women's tag team championships. On the other hand, Fallon Henley is going to have to struggle a little bit more. She's left alone over on the blue brand of SmackDown, but I'm sure she'll still go ahead and find her footing. So first and foremost, welcome JC Jane to Monday Night Raw. And here tonight, a difficult matchup against Ivy Nile, of course. Not only is she facing off against a pretty experienced Ivy Nile, but Ivy Nile is also the number 1 contender to the women's IC title, as I previously mentioned. And if Ivy Nile were to lose here tonight, it would look very bad, right? It wouldn't be a good look for her. And while it would build a good case for Jasmine Nix to get a future Intercontinental shot, it wouldn't be a good look for the number 1 contender to instantly lose her match after becoming the number 1 contender. So there is more at stake for Ivy Nile, and I think because of that, she's going to show less mercy. She's going to be more aggressive in this matchup because she has to win yes or yes in order to not only prove that she's the number 1 contender for a reason, to make sure that she just doesn't look bad against a rookie like Jasmine Nix. I'm sure Jasmine Nix will still give her a tough challenge, will still fight it out with her, will still make things hard for Ivy Nile, but in the end of the day, I think just because of what's at stake for her ego, for what she currently and where she currently stands, Ivy Nile is the favorite in this match, and she should go ahead and get the victory here tonight, as Jasmine Nix, though, as I said, is going to give Ivy Nile a heck of a challenge, and she is showing that very early on. These two women going back and forth. It's a little bit of Ivy Nile on the attack, then a counter, a little bit of Jasmine Nix onto the attack, then a counter. This is what I expect the match to be, and that is what these two have shown us thus far. These two going at it back and forth. Knees up by Jasmine Nix as Ivy Nile was looking for the splash, now allowing Jasmine Nix to potentially get onto the attack. Maybe not, as Jasmine is quickly countered by Ivy. And now Ivy is countered by Jasmine. I'm telling you, these two are just going to be going at it, and this is going to be an incredible matchup if it hasn't already been. These two are just going back and forth. A very nice paced matchup, pretty quickly paces. You know, again, it's just one attacking, one countering, and then so on and so forth as Ivy Nile rolls outside of the ring right here. Jasmine Nix not going to allow her to catch her breath, trying to send her into the barricade. Ivy Nile able to counter instead, sending Jasmine Nix into the barricade, and now inside the ring as the referee's count was only able to get to 2. Quickly, both women back inside of the ring once again. Jasmine Nix countering right there, able to do some damage onto the head of Ivy Nile. Now trying to use the ropes as a boost. Ivy Nile, though, able to move out of the way once again, countering one another. And now we have some back and forth action between Ivy Nile and Jasmine Nix. Well, it has been a pretty fast-paced match, and a lot has been happening. It has been good on my end. I like this type of wrestling. You know, I like the sides of wrestling, whether it's hard style, whether it's lucha libre, or whether it's just these two knowing exactly what to do with one another, attacking and countering. I love it all. And Jasmine Nix right here on the wrong end as Ivy Nile is able to go ahead and do some nice damage. Ivy Nile able to counter Jasmine Nix, who may have been looking for the finish right there. And then Jasmine Nix able to move out of the way of a kick from Ivy Nile, now into the pinfall. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 by Ivy Nile. These two continue. We see a little bit of, I wouldn't say disappointed or frustration, but just kind of shaking her head no, Jasmine Nix, after Ivy Nile's been able to kick out of there. Maybe just kind of like, what the heck, thinking. Well, I guess, yeah, you could say disappointment, but this may be disappointing as Jasmine Nix's match may come to an end. Ivy Nile looking for a submission. No, maybe not. Jasmine Nix, elbows to the face, being able to escape the hold right there, escaping the submission. Instead, it is Jasmine Nix who is now on to the attack. Ivy Nile slowly rising. Jasmine Nix awaits her. Ivy Nile countered at least for a bit. Jasmine Nix using her other leg to make sure she's able to do some damage onto Ivy Nile, who somehow escapes once again. And now Ivy Nile putting Jasmine Nix in a tricky situation once again, looking for the submission hold. Is Jasmine Nix going to be able to escape again? Is Jasmine Nix going to be able to do it? No, she can't. Jasmine Nix taps. Ivy Nile gets the victory. And look who is here. The Intercontinental Champion, Roxanne Perez, has arrived. And it looks like she is here to have a little face-off with her number 1 contender. Hoping to see this match within the next week or so. But for now, we get a small little face-off between the champion and the challenger. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the main event of the evening. Introducing first, the Beast in Carnage, Brock Lesnar is here. The Beast in Carnage has arrived. And I'm not sure, again, if he's already part of the Vision, formerly known as the Re-Evolution. I'm not sure if he is part of them or not. Because let me tell you how he got here in this World Heavyweight Championship number 1 contenders match. Brock Lesnar, on a Thursday night, there was no show that day, went to Adam Pearce's office and said, look, I want to help the Vision. I want to help Paul Heyman. So whether it's me, whether it's Seth, one of us will be taking the World Heavyweight Championship from CM Punk. I don't care about being champion. I don't care whether it's me or Seth. I simply don't want to see CM Punk as champion because Paul Heyman doesn't want to see him as champion. I want to help Paul Heyman So for all I've done, for my legacy, give me a number one contenders match. Give me an opportunity to dethrone CM Punk and show to you that I am the best in the world. So Brock Lesnar here tonight comes to help the Vision, comes to help Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, and he said he doesn't care if it's him or Seth who takes it off of CM Punk, as long as CM Punk isn't champion, which pushes me to believe that both him and Seth are maybe not leaders of the Vision, but those guys are going to be going for the world titles, which I'm sure Braun is probably not too happy because that was supposed to be his spot. We'll see how that goes and how that unfolds. But now, the second superstar in this matchup. We got LA Knight. Yeah. Now he, of course, former World Heavyweight Champion, held his title for a little bit. Eventually lost to Seth Rollins. Got a rematch, was unfortunately not able to get the job done. Lost that rematch at the Elimination Chamber, but here tonight he's been inserted into this number one contenders matchup against Brock Lesnar for another opportunity at the World Heavyweight Championship. Now let's talk about the tale of the tape. Brock Lesnar, of course, a 10-time world champion here within the WWE. He is also a one-time UFC heavyweight champion, so yeah, watch out, LA Knight. On the other hand, LA Knight's multiple-time United States champion, one-time world champion here tonight. As far as I know, first time these two face off against one another, so first time seeing this matchup, and it has officially begun. The main event, Brock Lesnar, LA Knight. How will this matchup go? Again, as I previously mentioned, LA Knight has already held this version of the World Heavyweight Championship. He was able to be Mr. Money in the Bank last season of My Universe, holding that Money in the Bank briefcase for quite a bit. He kind of disappeared and came out of nowhere in a big shocking surprise as LA Knight looking for the pinfall. Brock Lesnar able to kick out at one. It was LA Knight who disappeared for a bit and came shockingly after Sami Zayn defended his World Heavyweight Championship against the Ring General Gunther in a freaking incredible matchup, an incredible war where Sami Zayn was already beat up, beat down, and barely breathing. That is when LA Knight decided to make his return when everyone, especially Sami Zayn, least expected it. He cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. He took advantage of the opportunity in front of him of Sami Zayn already being very worn out, very beat down by the Ring General Gunther. Just like that, LA Knight was able to go ahead and become a one-time world champion. He defended his title against Sami Zayn successfully once, and then afterwards eventually lost it to Seth Rollins, as we previously mentioned. Now here tonight, another opportunity against Brock Lesnar. Number one contenders match. On the other hand, Brock Lesnar has not held the title in quite some time, of course. He, last time he held a world title, he lost it to Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns went on his historic 1,316-day reign, holding it was the heavyweight and the Universal Championship. He was the undisputed champion. Since then, Brock Lesnar has tried different things. I'm not sure if his goal was to be a world champion or not, but we saw him at Survivor Series helping the Vision. We saw him succeed there. On the other hand, the Royal Rumble Elimination Chamber, where we also saw him not able to succeed, not able to win the match there. Not sure, again, if his goal was to win a gold for the Vision or really what his goal. Now we know that it is first and foremost to just make sure that CM Punk isn't champion, but he hasn't been a world champion in quite some time, and being able to become an 11-time champion for Brock Lesnar would go ahead and make his legacy that much better. As we'll see how things go for these two here tonight. LA Knight, Brock Lesnar. The main event of the evening, an opportunity at CM Punk in the World Heavyweight Championship for whoever wins. LA Knight was looking for the finish there. However, Brock Lesnar was able to counter. LA Knight gets up quickly. Hits a huge diamond cutter onto Brock Lesnar and quickly back onto the attack as these two go at it. And this match, as little as I've seen of it, already has instant classic written into the stars as LA Knight is hit with a suplex. And Brock Lesnar definitely going to take LA Knight to Suplex City here tonight. LA Knight slowly getting up. Brock Lesnar countered. And LA Knight slamming down Brock Lesnar straight onto the mat. LA Knight now off the middle ropes with a big knee. Dropping onto Brock Lesnar. Gonna look for the pinfall. 1. And a kick out at 1 by Brock Lesnar. As LA Knight now with some big stomps, some big kicks onto Brock Lesnar. Trying to get something. And no, Brock Lesnar counters. Headbutt. Knocking down LA Knight. And now slowly rising. Going to be quickly met by the Beast in Carnage. Who grabs LA Knight. Looks to send him straight into the turnbuckle. Does so successfully. Now puts him onto the top ropes. LA Knight's able to counter right there instead. And no, Brock Lesnar countering once again. LA Knight's countering as well, though. And now Brock Lesnar gonna take LA Knight into Suplex City. A second suplex. And then a third suplex now. Brock Lesnar gonna look for the pinfall. 1. No. Not even 1. LA Knight's very smartly with the rope break. He wasn't sure if he would be able to kick out. So very smartly, very smartly, grabs the ropes to break the count and keep this match alive. And now instead, an opportunity for LA Knight to be the one to win the match. No, Brock Lesnar quickly counters. And now Brock Lesnar gonna look for the F5 and he connects. LA Knight is out. Brock Lesnar. 1, 2, 3. No. What the heck? LA Knight has just been able to kick out. He has just done it. Kicking out at 2. And now Brock Lesnar gonna have to do a little bit more if he wants to put LA Knight away. And LA Knight, who just caught a second wind, is on the attack once again. Knee to the face of Brock Lesnar. And now LA Knight charging something up. Trying to move out of the way of Brock Lesnar's attack right here. Not able to do so. Instead, Brock Lesnar picks up LA Knight. Smack after smack after smack. And now Brock Lesnar, what is he going to look to do? Suplex sending LA Knight flying. And the Beast and Carnage. Oh, maybe looking for the F5 right there very smartly once again. LA Knight rolling outside of the ring. Catching his breath, making sure he isn't hit with an F5. Brock Lesnar turns his back on LA Knight, and that's the opportunity that LA Knight needed. He attacks, and now LA Knight targeting the right arm of Brock Lesnar. Now looking for the finish. Knee to the face, clothesline, sending Brock Lesnar flying. And now Brock Lesnar having to use the ropes to go ahead and stand up. LA Knight's gonna send him flying, and he does so. As now LA Knight off of the top ropes, knee drop onto Brock Lesnar. Huge damage done as Brock Lesnar gets up instantly, and LA Knight may be in trouble trying to roll back inside of the ring. Instead, drop face first onto the apron. Brock Lesnar hops inside of the ring. LA Knight's on the top turnbuckle. Now onto the middle. Brock Lesnar trying to drop him. LA Knight able to prevent that from happening. Instead, dropping Brock Lesnar. And now LA Knight gonna look for his signature move, seeing if he can put Brock Lesnar away. There it is. Brock Lesnar may be out, but LA Knight wants to do some more damage. LA Knight, yeah, there it is. Brock Lesnar has to be out, while LA Knight wants to do some more damage to put the cherry on top. And now Brock Lesnar countered, maybe biting off a little more than he can chew. And now LA Knight, just when we thought he was a man who could win this match, is now in a very tricky situation. Because Brock Lesnar, oh no, is going to look for the F5, the second one of the match. And he connects. That's got to be it. 1, 2, 3, and there it is. Brock Lesnar is the new #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship. And we'll be getting a matchup against CM Punk and his title in the very near future. It was LA Knight who in the last couple of moments of the match had every single opportunity to win it. He had everything. Everything aligned perfectly for him, but then he went on and tried to bite a little more than he could chew. And in that moment, Brock Lesnar countered, put him on his shoulders, hit him with the second F5 of the night, pinned him for the 1-2-3, and won the match. Unfortunate turn of events for LA Knight, who fought hard in an instant classic of a matchup. But in the end, it is Brock Lesnar, the Beast in Carnage, who gets the victory. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you guys over on Friday Night SmackDown.